All right, Steeler fans, we're back. Second half. This is the fun time of the show. It's where we start talking about things like predictions, over-under game, and some Steelers trivia. I'll tell you what, though, Dave, real quick. This is on the top of my head after what Brian was talking about with the offense. Where do the Steelers rank as a team with sacks? Do you know that off the top of your head? I know you do the
off
rankings.
The top, I said it this morning. I don't want to give the wrong number because it did change. They're towards the very top. They are the Steelers rank in. You meaning in sacking the opponent's quarterback?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, with 26, they are 7th all by themselves.
7th, and the Ravens are first. Correct. What number do they?
Yeah, the Ravens are up there. I don't remember their exact number, but also remember they have an extra game.
That's
but
true.
they are averaging more per game. Is how I do it to figure out their rankings.
So 7th, that's not bad. That's not bad. The Steelers are going to need to get after the quarterback, that's for sure. Also, we are getting ready to start the over-under game. We have an update on those. We didn't have it last week. I think I would have gotten them all right if we did, but we didn't have it. So,
nope.
Where are we?
Well, Jeff, you did good the week before, even in the loss to Jacksonville. You're the only team that picked the Steelers, but yet somehow, well, Brian picked the Steelers to cover. I picked Jacksonville. I don't get any points for that though, but that doesn't matter. We all took the over, and it was under. But Jeff, you were 4 out of 6.
Nice.
You got Najee Harris rushing yards being under 65.5. You got Deontay Johnson targets being over 6.5. You got Steelers sacks being over 2.5. And you're the only one who didn't think Deontay Johnson was going to get a touchdown. We knew it was coming, and we were just 5 days too early, Brian and I. So you had 4, I had 3. Brian only had 1. The other one he got right was the Deontay Johnson targets.
I suck at this game.
The one thing you went under on was Steelers sacks. That's everything else went over.
See what happens when I get optimistic.
Yeah. But remember, you picked Jacksonville to win, but not cover.
So what was the total?
So where we are so far, Brian is in 3rd place with 14 correct. Don't ask me out of how many, because I'd have to go back into my other notebook. Jeff has 18 and I have 20. So Jeff made up a little bit of ground.
Don't call it a comeback.
So I'm going last so I can pick against all of you guys this week.
It's either going to pay off or you're going to find yourself in a deficit that you're not going to come back from.
Yeah.
All right. So we only have 5 this week. Take off the Deontay Johnson touchdown one because that's good. It's done now. He scored a touchdown.
The monkey's off the back.
That's right.
You can keep going with it if you want to.
I could, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it off this week. Let's go. I always give a Kenny Pickett number here. These are total touchdowns. Kenny Pickett total touchdowns, not just passing touchdowns, total touchdowns. I'm just go 1.5. 1.5. What do you think, Brian? Or do you want to go last?
No, I'll go in my regular spot. I still like 2. So let's go over.
All right. Dave?
I'm doing my math. Got to figure out what is doing. You know what? I'm actually going to go over.
Okay.
No.
8.
Packers have good defense.
He threw the red flag.
No. And not only that, they have a really good passing defense. You know what? I'll still go with over. Jeff's going to go over, so that way we'll go the same.
I'm going over. I think it's 1 rushing and 1 throwing. 1 rushing and 1 throwing for Kenneth Shane Pickett. All right, Deontay Johnson receptions is the next one, and that line is set at 7.5. Brian, what do you think? Not targets, catches.
I'm going to go slightly under. I'm looking at 6.
What about you, Dave? You're looking up what he did last week.
I know he had 8 against Jacksonville because I had to look it up. Whoa. Everything just went black. Am I still with you?
You're good. Yep.
Okay. My whole screen went black for a second. What was the number again?
7.5. And
Brian, you said under?
I said under slightly, and that's not an indictment. I'm just going under.
Jesper, I don't know, because Jeff thinks we're going to get a lot of George Pickens. You know what? I'm going to go over. I am, because I still think Deontay Johnson is going to get his catches.
I'm going over as well. I think it's going to be 8.
There's your chance to catch up on us, Brian.
Yeah, and you know what? I have no problem with it. I'm just playing the Pickens game, and I'm really on the Deontay bandwagon now.
If teams are saying that, hey, George Pickens is not going to beat us, then it's going to leave Deontay Johnson open because he's not going to be, no one's going to cover him one-on-one. Not a single soul will be able to cover him one-on-one. So I'll go with DJ over. Let's go to, speaking of George Pickens, let's go to George Pickens yards, total yards for George Pickens. It seems really low, but he's had some rough games, and I think defenses are saying what I said. They're not going to let him beat him. I'm at the number of 45.5. George Pickens yards. 45.5. Brian, what do you think?
That's a hard one for me. I don't think we can go. Man, I can't be that pessimistic with George because I think everybody will go nuts if he doesn't have a great game this week. I got to go over.
Dave?
That's tough because I mean he doesn't have half that in the last 2 games combined. I know. So he's probably due, so I'll go over with Brian.
I'm going over. He could make that in 1 catch.
That's the thing with Pickens. He could have 2 catches for 70 some yards.
Absolutely. I'm going over. Here we go. The defensive side of the ball. Pittsburgh Steelers sacking the opposition. I've got that number at 3.5. Brian?
You know what? I'm going to go under slightly. I'm going to say 3. I like that sweet spot of 3 for the Steelers.
Okay. Dave?
The Steelers are averaging. That's tough because they're averaging over 3. But the Packers aren't giving up a ton of sacks. 3.5. Brian, you said under?
Yes.
You know what? I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with you this time, Brian, and go 3. Just because I have too many overs.
Over 4.
Yep, I know Jeff is going over, so I'm like, yeah.
I mean, like I said, so do I have some intel? I mean, I do interview people to cover these teams that the Steelers are going to play, and according to Dale from Average Cheese podcast, their offensive line is rough, and he said Jordan Love has been running for his life. So he talked about the teams, the defensive they've played have not been like unbelievable defenses. They're playing some very mediocre teams, and I think the Steelers are going to feast on them, to be honest with you.
But I think they know that, and they're going to try to scheme and maybe not be taking all these deep shots and perhaps maybe try to do some shorter, quicker stuff because they know it's, my goodness, if not, they're going to get killed.
Well, if they look at if there's a blueprint for that.
I really want to change my pick now. I really do.
Go ahead.
You can change it.
Throw the red flag, Dave.
No, in my heart, I'm changing it. On paper, it stays the same.
Look at what Houston did.
I can't be wrong.
That's exactly what Houston did with C.J. Stroud. We're not going to let you get to us. We're just going to get the ball out quick. Last one.
I wouldn't be shocked if they have a ton.
Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers rushing yards. This is as a team. So a whole team combined. I think that they're going to have a game. So I went 145.5 as a team. 145.5, which would be, that line is just below what they did last week, which is their greatest rushing output. So maybe it's a little optimistic on my side. But Brian, what do you think?
I'm going to go under. Not by much, but under.
I'm going over.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what Green Bay has been doing. I base this number solely on the Steelers' running game and not so much the opposition.
Green Bay's run defense is 23rd in the NFL, giving up 124 yards per game.
Over.
If you
Jeff goes straight overs.
Yes, I'm in the overs club.
If you have 75 by Najee and you have 50 by Jalen Warren, that's pretty great. That's a great rushing day. That's a good rushing day, and that's only 125. So I think they're going to be back in that category, but that's not a bad thing.
I think you are going with the reasonable, non-emotional pick there, Brian, which is the right way to go. I just went with my oversized gut and decided to go west.
But I'm rarely right.
I know.
Right.
But no, what's crazy is the Steelers can have a really good game rushing the football and still not hit that number. You're exactly right.
I think that when you think about this team, well, not only are they ridiculously difficult to predict, but I think that I've seen enough from them in the last few weeks. And it's like, okay, I feel like they're kind of turning the corner a little bit. I'm not saying that they're there, that they're a finished product, but I do think they're getting better. And so let's slowly move our way away from over under into the prediction side of things. Pittsburgh, Green Bay in Pittsburgh. The current line that I have, this line has fluctuated a little bit. I've seen it go from 2.5 to 3. I have it at 3.5 right now. Steelers giving 3.5. That's true. With a total that's also moved up incrementally, started at 37, now up to 39. So there you have it. Steelers giving 3.5 versus Green Bay, total of 39. Brian, how do you see this game shaking out? What is your score prediction?
Over Steelers 20, Steelers 27, Green Bay 20.
Oh, all right.
Hold on. I've got to remember how I write this down. Hold on.
I was so close to predicting the first 30-point game and a win in a while, but I shied off of that.
27-20. Oh, hold on. I wrote that in the wrong spot. Here I am trying to do my clear. It's been 2 weeks since we did this. I can't remember what I'm doing.
It's only been 2 weeks, not 2 years.
I know. Lots happened in that 2 weeks. I myself am also going over barely. I also have one of my numbers the same as Brian. I have 27 for the Steelers. I got 13, and honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they don't even get to that. It could, it could be a fluky play, it could be a garbage time thing. I just think that the Steelers defense has a chance to really go out and stomp and do something. It's the whole. I could see this game being a blowout. Either way, right now, the way I feel with the Steelers is that they're either going to finally show up and give us what we've seen at times the whole game, or it's going to be another one of those games like, what are they doing? Come on. I'm going with it's going to be the Steelers showing up in a good way. I like teams coming off the mini-bye, especially at home.
I think the Steelers score 4 touchdowns in this game, 2 rushing and 2 passing. I've got a final score of 28-20. A fourth quarter semi-meaningless touchdown makes it 20 points. So I've got the Steelers 28-20 to win back-to-back games, head into back-to-back divisional games with a 6-3 record. So we all have the Steelers winning. That scares me a little bit.
Well, Rich and I talked about on Tuesday night.
Welcome to the fan club. You guys are now official fans of the Steelers because you picked them to win. Good for you.
Yeah,
welcome.
You're almost saying the same thing.
I'll show you around after this show.
Yeah, show us around.
I actually, because I do Bold and Bizarre predictions, I did pick the Steelers win last week.
Okay.
In Bold and Bizarre, and I said, hey, if they lose, don't blame me.
I picked them to. Well, remember we have staff picks, and I did my pick on Scobro. I picked him one last week too. Rich didn't, and he was surprised. I'm like, it's Thursday night. It's a short week. They're playing the Titans. Something about it feels right. This is one. It does scare me a little bit because we talked about on Tuesday night. I don't want to say this is a must-win game because I don't like to even label those until you're either in serious trouble or completely eliminated in a must-win game. But this is a can't lose game. If you look at the Steelers schedule, they're at home. They're against a team that doesn't have a winning record. They've got to go on the road back-to-back AFC North games on the road. You need this one going into that, especially coming off the 10 days rest.
Gotta have it. Gotta have a game for sure. All right, so trivia, the longest segment of the night. Brian, go.
Mine won't be.
Go ahead, Brian. What's your trivia?
Okay. Right. Who played for both the Packers and Steelers?
Yes, and these are players that played for the Packers and the Steelers. They are defenders, and the 3 of them have a combined 87.5 sacks between the 3 of them. The interesting thing, they were all drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they all played their final season with the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to give you their colleges: Pacific, Auburn, and California.
So, dang it, he didn't finish in Green Bay, did he?
Who's that?
No. Nah, you said you were drafted by the Steelers?
Drafted by the Steelers.
Never mind. That negates
These
it.
were
So, okay.
who were you thinking, Jeff?
For some reason, I was thinking Kevin Green. I was just thinking of the
So was
coach.
I.
He was a coach.
Yeah, but
He was a
Yeah, he was
coach.
a
I'm
coach,
like,
yeah.
why do I think about him with the
well, he
Packers?
finished
But
his
yeah.
career actually in I think San Francisco, didn't he, or was it Carolina?
No, Carolina. He went to
No,
Carolina, then he
nope.
wasn't San Francisco,
Yeah,
then he went back to Carolina.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know he went
Well,
back.
he
to
had
Carolina.
2 stints in one of them. But anyways, I can't think of any Steeler Packer connection that has sacks, even when you said the colleges.
Well, he said, let's see, what did he say? Clemson?
Pacific, Auburn, and California.
Man, hold on.
I'm drawing a huge blank.
Auburn should be. That wasn't Kirkland, was it?
He's
He played at Clemson,
Clemson. I was getting Clemson and Auburn mixed up.
but he
I don't know
didn't
why.
finish his
That-
career
I
in
should-
Green Bay.
I didn't think so
Finished his
either. But I was just
he
trying to
finish
think of
his career
schools.
in Seattle, didn't he? Or Philly?
Okay,
not
I know it was
Philly.
NFC. Okay, so Pacific, Auburn. Let's see. When I think of Auburn, I think of come on, the Steelers drafted a lineman out of Auburn.
Sammy Coates played at Auburn.
And Kendall Simmons, he played at Auburn.
Sammy Coates doesn't have a lot of sacks though.
No, that's the thing.
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm literally drawing a blank.
I'm really
I'm about to pull a movie phone. Why don't you just tell us who it is?
Okay, well, I'm going to go
hold
a little
on.
further.
Okay, go ahead.
These guys were all drafted in the 80s.
That's part of the problem.
But one guy is the reason that the Steelers had 2 first-round draft picks in 1989.
Oh, that's because they traded who did they trade?
Who did they trade? Merriweather.
What Merriweather?
Once had a 15.5 sack season for the Steelers. Awesome player.
Really?
The other guy had 25 sacks for the Steelers.
I think I got the Auburn one. I think I'm thinking. What was his name? Come on, Jeff. He was in the nose tackle.
No clue.
The first name Gerald is sticking out to me.
Yep.
Why can't I remember his last name?
Kind of common last name, but not a Johnson, Jackson, or Jones.
Gerald Williams. Gerald Williams. Is that the Auburn one? Yes. Okay. So that was the Auburn one. I knew if I focused on the college one long enough, I thought I could get it. So where was Merriweather? Where did he play?
Pacific
College. He was the Pacific. Okay.
And the gentleman from California is actually a Cal Berkeley. He was actually a Super Bowl champion, and he was a Super Bowl champion, and Mike Tomlin was on that staff, if I'm not mistaken.
That will
I believe. I hope I'm correct in that.
What? That he was a Super Bowl champion?
That he was on that
Tampa.
Bay.
Hardy Nickerson was before that, right?
It is Hardy Nickerson.
Oh, it's Hardy Nickerson? I didn't know if he was on that team. But I know he went. He was
gone. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong thing. He was gone from that team. He played in Green Bay.
But I knew he played in Tampa. Yeah,
he played in Green Bay. That was his final season. So I apologize.
I didn't know he played in Green Bay. Did you know
Hardy Nickerson was a part of that 1987 draft, though, and he played until 2002.
Yeah. I mean, he was a good player, but he was also one that I remember as a Steeler, but he really made his name as a Buccaneer.
And real quick, what Steeler Hall of Honor player finished his career in Green Bay as well? Drafted by the Steelers.
Not a sack person.
Nope. No, this is actually an offensive player.
Why am I thinking did Faneca end up with a year in Green Bay after he's with the Jets?
No, Arizona.
Arizona. Okay.
Legend
Tunch
Tunch Ilkin.
I cheated and looked at the live chat. I'm not taking credit for that.
And Thomas Riley said Craig Wolfley, he ended his career in Minnesota around the same time. There you go.
All those NFC teams run together.
All right, Dave, your turn.
Okay, this is a pretty easy, low-hanging fruit. Honestly, this is for you, Jeff. This is one that if you think it through, you should be able to get these. It's this year. I'm talking this year. We are at the midpoint of the NFL season because, the Steelers 8 games, 9 games to go, but they had their bye week. So, between week 9 and 10 is that transition. Who, when you looking at the Steelers offense, who are the 5 players who have played the most snaps? Can you tell me the top 5 players that have played the most snaps on offense?
So are we talking skill players or any players?
Any offensive player.
Okay, so you look at the offensive line. So Mason Cole.
Mason Cole has not missed a snap. He has 495. You're
right. Dan Moore missed a game. James Daniels missed some time. Isaac Seumalo hasn't missed any time, so he'd be on.
Isaac Seumalo he is one of the 2 players who has not missed a snap this season. Him and Mason Cole, they're at the top with 495.
So it's not just like they're available; they have to actually play in the game. So that
they have to play. They have to play log snaps.
That negates someone like Allen Robinson. So I would say George Pickens.
George Pickens is tied for 3rd with 446 snaps.
Okay.
And your Allen Robinson was actually pretty interesting because he was 6th. Yeah. So you were right, but he was close. Yep.
Najee
Harris only has 268 snaps.
Yeah, they split him pretty even. I don't think Kenny missed time, but does he have enough to make the list?
Kenny Pickett is who is tied with George Pickens with 446 snaps.
Am I missing one?
So you've got one more, and it's the only other person over 400 offensive snaps. You got Seumalo, Cole, Pickett,
Darnell
Pickens.
Washington.
No, he's only got 223.
Okay.
I'm going to go crazy here. Connor Hayward?
That's what I was thinking.
Connor Hayward has 232.
Okay.
You want a hint?
Sure.
Yes.
They might only get 1 or 2 this week, unless Brian loses his dollar.
Oh, Chooks?
It's Chooks, 427.
Huh.
Yep. So there you go. Those are the 4. You guys know what we're doing. Now, 5. Who are the top? What are the top 5 snaps on defense?
Okay. Defensively, we'll go Alex Highsmith.
Alex Highsmith is 3rd with 472 snaps.
Which means that Trent Jordan wouldn't be too far behind or ahead.
Trent Jordan is 2nd with 481 snaps.
I'm going to go Patrick Peterson.
He leads them all with 569.
At that, let's go. I'm thinking Keanu Neal for some reason.
Keanu Neal was at 374, and the cutoff for this one is at 447.
I'm going DeMonte KZ, though.
You are correct, Brian. He's number 4, 455.
Larry Ogunjobi?
No, he's at 389.
Okay, he's not too far off.
Because they rotate.
They rotate those guys. Levi Wallace.
Levi Wallace was number 6, and not by much. He was 436.
Landon Roberts.
It's not a Landon Roberts. He only has 231.
Cole Holcomb was up.
I was going to say, unfortunately, this number is stuck where it is for now at 447. Number 5 was Cole Holcomb. Very good, very good. And to complete the trifecta, because it's important, can you tell me the top 5 special team snaps?
Okay. No. So Chris Boswell. No, he wouldn't because he's only other kicking. Presley Harvin.
Nope.
No, he missed time too. Christian Kuntz.
Nope.
Special teams?
Because remember,
your return.
Because it's kickoff, kick returns, punt returns.
James Pierre.
James Pierre, believe it or not, where is James Pierre? Yeah, it's James Pierre. He's got 149.
Miles Boykin.
Yeah, James Pierre's tied for fourth with 149. Miles Boykin is tied for second with one more snap at 150.
Let's go with I think Broderick Jones is on a lot of those teams, but I don't know if he's enough.
Not on like kick return and stuff.
Nick Herbig.
He's number one, baby, 165.
Good job, Ryan.
Nick Herbig's number one, 165. Then you've got Boykin and Pierre. You've got another one who's tied for number two. It should be the easy one.
Calvin Austin the third. No, because he's only a return guy. He's not on the kickoff teams.
Come on, guys.
We said Miles Boykin, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Miles Killebrew.
Yeah, who's the captain? Miles Killebrew.
Killebrew.
He's got 150. There's one more with 149, and then there's somebody who's close in six with 148. Then it drops off down to Connor Hayward at 123.
Is it Elijah Riley?
Elijah Riley's number 5 at 149, and barely missing it at number 6, Mark Robinson.
Hey.
Interesting.
So there's your snap counts. I just thought that was fun. See, Jeff could participate. There we go.
Yeah, we go to like this 80s and so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's where I specialize.